Hey, it is your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We're diving in and really kind of focusing in and zooming in on another important topic when it comes to understanding learned helplessness. The feeling of kind of just being stuck, being blocked, feeling like your life is going nowhere. You don't have the juice, you don't have the personal growth. You're feeling kind of in the doldrums, or you're stuck in a rut, or you're feeling kind of apathetic. You're not trying new things. You're not thinking new things. You're not feeling new ways. Basically, you're just settling for mediocrity. Your standard for life is either staying at a plateau or it's going down. You're just unhappy. You feel like you can't really break through to the next level. You want to, but you don't know quite what is going on and or how to move forward. And we're kind of piggybacking off of the last video and talking about the situation or condition of learned helplessness and how Dr. Seligman's experiment, how it relates to people, how it relates to humans, how this also occurs, and how you can use this understanding to further your movement to the next level, the next stratum, the next quantum energy field where you want your life to be, where you've seen it, felt it, but you haven't really kind of understood why you haven't been able to move forward. Well, one of the things that Dr. Seligman has identified is different attributions for why someone is where they are, feeling the way that they are. And these can be, internal attributions. They can be, what something is attributed to. In other words, I failed the test because I didn't study. Or I failed the test because I'm stupid and I can never do this. Or the test was too hard, it's biased against me. So there's all sorts of different attributions or assessments or assignments of the locus of why someone feels the way that they do. And so oftentimes, the way that a narcissist or a psychopath will break you down is to violate your boundaries and basically have you dissolve your inner core, your inner voice, your inner talent. When we talk about talent is one of the miracles of humankind. Talent is the ability, it's like an internal flair, it's an internal gift. It's just, it doesn't oftentimes have to be learned. It just is, someone who has an affinity for piano and then nurtures their talent, they become this wonderful musician. Or a graphic artist who, can doodle very well, has a great voice, has a kinship for the arts. They then begin to nurture or foster that talent. And then, you give them a video camera and they do amazing things. And then they meet up with other people who play music, instruments, and then they add it together and it's a collaboration and it creates this beautiful video, or it creates this beautiful film or photography series. If you've ever been to a photography, a gallery, just look at some of the talent. I mean, that'll wake you up to the power of the human spirit, and what another viewer has called really the power of human potential. It's unlike really anything else. I mean, if you need that inspiration, use your recovery journal to go out and then, kind of start to tap into and, seeing kind of the brighter side of life. But as we're getting back, an internal attribution oftentimes is what is experienced when you are around a psychopath or a malignant narcissist. They'll have you attribute all the problems, all the shortcomings, all the pitfalls to you. There's something internal about you which cannot make it, which cannot be happy, which is doing all wrong. You are the reason for all this poverty. You are the reason for all this anger. You are the reason why I'm unhappy. You begin then to absorb all this blame. It's literally like a sponge. I mean, literally like there's holes in the human body that take the energy in, and that's called absorbing another's energy. And if they have broken you down, broken down your boundary, i.e. kind of that energetic field around you, which is, based in your root chakra, but, based in your body, based in your spirit, and what we call groundedness. And we have a wonderful viewer, we've talked about going barefoot on the grass and how that's called earthing, and how that releases the negative ions into the great Mother Earth. And she can take all that negativity, it can flow out from your body and get those negative ions out and then recharge you. I would definitely recommend doing that. If you think that sounds silly, crazy, great. You need to feel that way. You need to do something different. Go out in bare feet and begin to walk on the ground and begin to feel the energy rising up in your body and giving you a sense of peace and harmony and groundedness. Sit outside, have your body sit outside, even lay outside. Let the ions, nature, natural air, wind, playing with your hair, playing with your skin, playing with your clothes, getting outside, seeing little birds and geese or whatever it is jumping around, go out there and be stimulated, because that's where you're going to come into restoring that inner light, that inner space. Because oftentimes, as Dr. Siegel says, there's he's not Dr. Siegel, I'm sorry, Silgman. Dr. Silgman, as he states, oftentimes there's different locuses of control. We've talked about this in other videos. But what can happen is sometimes this learned helplessness where you feel powerless over the situation. You've been taught to feel this pain, and then furthermore, begin to feel it's always going to be that way, which is erroneous thinking. That's oftentimes there's attributions, the locus of attributions, which keep those negative feelings and situations in place. As Dr. Seligman discusses, there's different ways people attribute to this feeling. And when you are around a malignant narcissist or a psychopath or a covert narcissist, they will lead you to believe that there is something inherently wrong or flawed about you. And that furthermore, you cannot make it without them. They're like the addiction. They're like, they're like your poison, and it becomes in the beginning, fun, like your poison of choice. Sorry, my little thing here. Take a quick break. So it becomes like your poison of choice. In other words, in the beginning, it's intoxifying. It's, it's filled with romance or promises or a better life or a better perspective with this person. But then it becomes, then they use that to exploit you, and then they use it to kind of take you over. And that then, then when they have you hooked that way, oftentimes then they treat, they pathologically lie, and then they cheat behind your back, keep you down, keep you isolated, and then you can't think for yourself. There's always, it's like they're filling in your sentences for you. You can't even think for yourself, which is the switch. That's the flip that you need to make in order to truly heal. But furthermore, when, like Dr. Seligman says, an internal attribution is any attribution that gives the cause of an event as something to do with the person, as opposed to something in the outside world. For example, if you believe you failed a test because you're stupid, that's an internal attribution. Compare that to believing that the test was hard. That's an external attribution. You're blaming the test, which is outside of your control. So in other words, the malignant narcissist and the covert narcissist, the psychopath as well, will have you to believe that there's something inherently wrong. In other words, you're the cause of the failure of the situation. They'll have you lead to believe, and keep you powerless again. This is how they enjoy the relationship. Again, sometimes this can be tinged with playfulness, sarcasm, but then it gets very dark. And so you have to realize that, sometimes it's like, you need to flip it to an external attribution. In other words, this situation, maybe, just maybe, there's not something inherently wrong with you. Perhaps there's something outside of you. Who would that be? Who is a little tough, a little hard. In other words, it's the one that's causing you to feel this way. And you have to realize that is not correct. there is nothing inherently flawed with you. They will give you all the wrong messages so that you can become, broken inside, broken spirited, broken physically, so that they can basically keep themselves brighter. In other words, if they can squash you, they don't have to see how talented you become. They don't have to deal with your happiness. They don't have to deal with, hearing you out and expressing your feelings. It's a way for them to just hurt others for them to be brighter. So learn and understand that this is oftentimes what occurs. So learn to flip that understanding and that attribution. And the covert narcissist they will do that in that very subtle sort of quiet, stonewalling quietness, where they then make you to feel like you don't even exist, you're invisible, and you're not even worthy of recognition, saying hi, or acknowledgement. I mean, so you might as well just be walking like an invisible sheet. I mean, so then you internalize, well, there must be something wrong with me. I mean, that's how the brain processes these things and then tries harder to please them. So let's get things straight. Let's realize that the internal attributions that they have thrust and projected out there have nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them trying to get you down underneath the guise of control. And let's undo that. Realize that a lot of that issue is outside and separate from you. In other words, we need to get some space there, some true space. And I mean, in a perspective sense, like I am me, I am, and then this out here, this is the test. I'm not going to battle myself with a test, which oftentimes the rules are always changing. The bar is always higher and lowered, and there's so much chaos and confusion. Maybe there's no winning at that test, so maybe I'm just going to pursue the I am and follow up on those affirmations and get a sense of empowerment and surround myself, because there are people who will reflect and exist and be in relationships with you in that positive, empowered space, which is your talent, your inner gift, which you need to kind of dust off, and you need to kind of like find it, dust it off, open it up, nurture it, and begin to rekindle that inner voice. It is there. Pay attention during the day. Really, what gets you excited? What are you attracted to? What is healing? What makes you feel empowered? What makes you feel strong? What makes you go, wow, that is so cool. That is so interesting. And then find out what that is. Begin to make a list of these things. I really love this. I really love that. I think that is so cool. Begin to make a note about it and follow up on those, because chances are those are things that you love and you haven't been allowed to love, or even people that you have not been allowed to love because of this learned helplessness situation. It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.